Hi, my name's Paige, and I have bipolar disorder. But before I get into that, I would like to explain why I made this channel. I made this channel because I feel like some people need to put a face to the illness, and I know a lot of people have come forth, like in the media, as far as celebrities go and whatever else, that they have bipolar disorder, and I feel, well, that's well and good, the more information the better. It's also good to hear other stories, less publicized stories, because I think every case, like in terms of any kind of illness, there's some sort of subjectivity, because everyone has a different story, different experiences, different symptoms, whatever, with the specific illness that they're dealing with. So I just would like to bring forth, what's happened to me, and maybe possibly do videos on mental illness in general. But as far as my story goes with my illness, I was officially diagnosed when I was 17 years old, in my senior year of high school, which was very difficult. It was November 2009, and I had a manic episode. And up until then, I didn't really notice mania in myself. If anything, it was a much less case before this outbreak. I only ever noticed depression, and that started when I started to notice it when I was 15. I had suicidal thoughts. I began to change schools twice, and I just didn't enjoy doing the things that I once liked. I know that sounds like a typical, oh, I saw that on the symptoms list, but yeah, that's how it felt. I began to withdraw socially with friends. I didn't feel I was good enough, and I just always felt like there was nothing, I had a bunch of thoughts, but I couldn't communicate them because I felt like no one would understand. So I went to this day program in the capital city of the state I live in, and it was for adolescents. Anything from a death in the family that led to suicidal thoughts, which led them to go there, to really bad social anxiety at school. Yeah, so I was there, and they put me on an antidepressant, and I didn't feel any different. Even after the month that they give you, that they say, just wait it out, you'll start to feel it lift, and then you can start enjoying things that you would do before the depression. And I didn't feel anything, so we tried another one, and I started seeing a therapist on a weekly basis in the same city, and I got really bad sore throat and dry mouth from it, and it would lead to me throwing up every morning on a routine basis. So then I stopped taking them altogether and just decided to wait it out. So I switched schools again my junior year of high school, and just very socially withdrawn, which was a drastic change from what I had been used to. I was a part of this really large friend group all throughout my life and freshman year and stuff, and I always knew what I was doing on a Friday night, and suddenly I was the outcast. I had a sprinkling of friends, if you would call them that sometimes, and I mostly just kept to myself. But I began more heavily to write. I took a creative writing class 3 times in my high school career, and I think that's how I spoke, through stories or just through journal entries. And then senior year came around, and I just snapped. I hadn't really been treated for my depression to the extent that I needed to. I don't think I saw a counselor for a while. And then all of a sudden, I just kind of lost my mind. It was around the time of swine flu, so I would call this period of my life swine flu over the cuckoo's nest. I actually looked up that exact phrase online not too long ago, and I guess someone from the New York Times, like, used it as a headline, so I was like, can't make it the title of my book. But, yeah, so I thought I had swine flu, but it was really just laryngitis, and, I had a really sore throat, and at the time, I was heavily into music and singing. I still am, but not as actively pursuing it right now. I was a part of my school's select choir and the theater department, and I was going for an audition. We have all-state auditions. I don't know, it might just be an East Coast thing, but we were going there. We go on the bus there. We went to this like boarding school or something in the capital city. That's where like everything is. And even though my voice was shot, because laryngitis kills your voice, you're supposed to drink honey and not be able to talk for the week, which I didn't since I was manic. I talked the whole time. I would say to people with my broken voice that I had finally found my voice when I lost it. And I started wearing a wig because I didn't feel like myself and I felt like I had to assume a role. So, yeah, we went to the audition and my voice completely shot, and I sang it as though I was frickin' Celine Dion in that audition room, and she just looked at me and was like, what's this girl doing? What does she think she's doing? So, not too long after that, my parents figured that something was up when I started to pack things into boxes and send them, try and send them off to like ex-boyfriends as like kind of like a sorry, which was strange. But I also read The Secret like a bunch of times in that week before going into the hospital. I would underline things in like different philosophy books that I thought were speaking to me. I guess my vocabulary improved too. It's just a rough time. I'm gonna have to do this in segments because I'm unfortunately not home alone, as I wanted to, but someone didn't get out of my house when they should have, so. Anyway, another thing that kind of led me to the hospital was that, there was this instance in which I took my violin and kind of deconstructed it. I took the pegs out and took off the strings, and then I found little scraps of fabric that I thought related to the strings, and lined them up one by one in the order, you know, G, D, A, E, and gave them little personalities and names, and I explained these to my stepmom, and then she was kind of like, yeah, you gotta go, but not out loud. So that Monday, we went to the capital city, and we ate at my favorite restaurant, and I was not even done with my antics. They had like the little things of sugar. They had like 5 different kinds, so I took each one out and kind of related each one to a certain thing in politics, and kind of explained the world's problems through sugar packets. And then shortly after that we got the check after I ate my wonderful Caesar salad, and we left for the children's hospital. I was in the children's hospital for 18 hours overnight. I didn't sleep at all those 18 hours. If you think about it, if you're in somewhere for a span of 18 hours, nighttime is gonna hit at some point, and it did for like 3/4 of it, and I was awake the entire time. I was chatting it up with the guards on duty, or police officers on duty, whatever it is. Just very delirious and delusional. And then in the morning I was put on a stretcher. They do that even if you're not physically ill, FYI. And in case you're wondering, in case you're planning on something, but these things are never planned, I don't think. And it just kind of took my life by storm, and over the past 3 years it's continued to kind of shake my spirit and my hope. At this point in time, I have been to the hospital, inpatient and partial hospitals 22 times in the past 3 years. Nearly 3 years. It'll be 3 years this November. Before that, I hadn't been to the hospital really for anything serious since I was a baby. So just imagine how my life has changed from that, and how insurance companies are ruining it too. Kind of depend on them right now, depend on my parents, depend on a lot of things, you know. It's not an easy thing being sick, like chronically ill, and most, you know, diseases of the mind are chronic, meaning they're forever. And that kind of upsets me too. I mean, I wish there was a cure for mood disorders or mental illness in general, because it's an everyday thing, you know. It's not like something that comes and goes, you know. And I don't like that the professionals say, oh, you gotta cope with it, there's no cure. Because that just makes me feel like you're just always managing through life, or trying to maintain this poise to cover up what's really underneath. And I just hope that there will someday be somewhat of a relief for people like myself that suffer from mental illness, because it's just not a good way to live. Like, and I hope there's some alternative to psychotropic medications in the future, because the side effects that come along with those are just not desirable. I'll make a video about that soon. But really, like, for the future, I'd like to do something in mental health advocacy, and just get my story out there, and I thought this would be a good way to do that. So, you know, if you're struggling with mental illness like bipolar, anything like that, schizophrenia, depression, anything, I'm here to talk, and I'll be making more videos on those topics. And even if you're just a loved one or a friend, you can ask me questions too. I'll make a video about, you know, being in a relationship or having family members close to you when going through these things. And things that have really helped me, I would say, just supportive people, music, any kind of expression, and especially just hearing stories about other people that have been through similar things. You know, not exactly the same, so you're never going to find that, but just knowing that you're not alone. I think it's really important to know that. Wish I knew of a way to close this that would be a clincher, but yeah. So stay tuned, because I'm still gonna be here, and you matter. Talk to you guys soon.